I feel like there's a couple storylines. One is that the virus is going to come back to New York soon. That's what Governor Cuomo is saying. The other is potential regional shutdowns in Florida, Texas, Arizona, California. You're the front man in some ways. What do you see?
Well, Alex, appreciate that. Great to be back on. You know, 2020 has been obviously a very interesting year for the broader economy, but specifically what we focus on is freight. And we're seeing unusually high volume this time of year. 2018 was a record freight year in the domestic market. 2020 actually is exceeding that even right now. Typically, July is a really slow month due to holidays and consumers doing things other than buying hard goods. And we're actually seeing freight accelerate in the month of July. This data is unusual this time of year, and it suggests that the recovery is actually much stronger than some of the broader economics suggest.
What are people shipping, Craig? And can you give us a regional breakdown?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of volume on what we call household improvement goods, things like floor coverings, carpets, things related to outdoors. We talked last time about trampolines, boats, anything that involves consumers doing stuff around their homes, improving their houses, gardening equipment, all the way to activities that can keep them outdoors. Those things are really strong. We're also seeing a level of refrigerated or temperature-controlled freight, which is really what we saw in March when there was an acceleration in freight demand related to stocking up. We're starting to see that come back a little bit, but not to the degree that would suggest that consumers are panicked about the corona and the COVID shutdown that could be imminent in parts of the country. We're seeing some level of demand, but the dry volumes, ones that aren't really related to stocking up, are doing better than their refrigerated counterpart.
So let's dig into that a little bit more. For those of you who don't know, Guy apparently has a trampoline in his backyard. There's apparently not a video that we have of him jumping, but he did do it one time. That's how we got to that story. So Craig, how do we know where you're shipping things that we're expecting kind of a recovery or a stock up? For example, let's just take regionally here in New York, where we're opening up, more phases are happening. Like, what are we buying here in the Northeast that, say, the Sun Belt is not?
Yeah, so recovery, I actually think this is a recovery story more than a stock up story right now. We are not seeing the freight demand, and the way we look at this is what we call short haul, which are really intra-city or intra-regional state movements that are in a tri-state area or in a local area. We're not seeing high accelerated demand just in those areas. We're seeing actually cross-continent, intercontinental moves actually much stronger and have recovered much faster than even those short-haul moves, which is really, when we looked at the March data, we saw a lot of temperature-controlled refrigerated goods that are moving short hauls, really took the breadth of the demand curve pre-stock up, or during the stock up period. Now we're not seeing that to the degree. We're actually seeing cross-continental moves or inter-US moves, which is suggesting that the freight recovery that we're seeing is much broader than just a stock up story. Certainly certain parts of the country which have a much more aggressive stance on shutdowns, places like California, New York, where the government does enforce these rules, are certainly consumers are reacting to that. But we also believe that consumers never stop stocking up, as they always maintain some inventory of groceries and consumer packaged goods in their homes, which means that we won't see the vast acceleration that we saw in early March.